Hello, how we doing, everyone?
Excellent, Marnie. So good. It's our shift Thursday.
Yes, hi, welcome to the shift. So let's see here. We are talking about all things human centered approach, being confident and communicating in real time and changing the way we lead and creating safe environments and tools and tips. And I am so excited about this conversation today, Mindy, because we have Jill Pavlov. Jill is a communication trainer, executive trainer. She's worked with LexisNexis. She's worked with some of the big names in the industry, and she focuses on improv. You've studied at some of the big improvs. I lost your in amongst everything. I lost your intro as far as
At this point, there's maybe 12 different versions of my intro, as most entrepreneurs or founders can relate to.
yeah, it's like, you have such this wealth of information, not to
Mm.
mention you don't have Jill on LinkedIn. I mean, just the content coming out of there and the vibrancy and the leadership resources are awesome. So welcome, Jill, and welcome, Mindy.
Having
So, Jill, would you mind? One of our favorite ways to start off these conversations is really just to talk about your through line, your story, how you got to your stance on where you stand today as it pertains to the future of work and the way people lead. So, I'm just curious, how you got to this platform, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the through line with everything that I do honestly boils down to confidence, which is such a buzzword and I don't love using it, but honestly nothing else describes the transformation that I really think that I bring to people overall is confidence in the way that they communicate, whether it's in their body or how they feel about how they're delivering something. The through line is that no matter what you're saying, in order for it to be received, you have to be confident in it. So that is I mean, that boils a lot of what a lot of what I do down to one word. Really, I was just having this discussion earlier today with one of my clients, and he was telling me how quickly his company is adapting AI and how quickly things are being converted to technology doing the heavy lifting. And I was telling him that's great. Like I have nothing against AI. It's absolutely wonderful. But as we're coming up here with AI, our human skills are kind of dropping, right? We're kind of relying on it a little bit more and relying on our own brains a little bit. And we really need to be right here because at the end of the day, it's the humans operating the AI. It's the humans going out there, getting on sales calls, going out at conferences, pitching the company, talking to investors. And in those moments, you cannot rely on AI. So it is my absolute mission to put the human back in human resources because I do believe that you guys, people leaders, learning and development, human resources leaders, you're such the heart of the company. And I envision you guys as the cheerleaders, as Mindy and Marnie have been for me, that are like, yes, humans and improv, let's change the world. Starting with this.
And I can sense your energy, right? Like even as you
Yeah.
talk about you have kind of that passion for the people pros, right? Like you sense it's like, oh, you're my people because that human piece. And Mindy and I on one of our first episodes that we did together, I don't even think it was the shift, but we talked about, like a lot of HR pros are having to deal with their co-founder or C-suite coming to them and say, just do AI. They're like, "But I don't know what that means," So there's that concept of actually help me help my team do AI, but keep the human in front of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, there's moments where technology can't exactly help you. I can't pause a conversation. I can't pause what we're doing right now and be like, please help me answer this question. I have no idea what to say, right? You need to know in that moment. And you don't need to know in that moment like the right answer. And we'll kind of get to that with like some of the exercises that we're doing today. But it's about being present in that moment, bringing the human presence to the moment, listening to what the other person is really saying, not just what you're hearing. And all of that is encapsulated in these improv principles that I don't just teach, but preach.
That is so important, right? Because there's so much research that's been done in the energy and the mood that we bring into a room. And just even being self aware of what's going on for us as we step into a room, as we step into a conversation, even virtually, you can feel someone's energy and just being self aware of that as you even enter into a conversation. I think when you said cheerleader, I almost then cringed at first because cheerleader HR was this negative connotation because we're so much more than just this fluffy cheerleader. But there's almost an aspect where I want to kind of I want to shift that image of cheerleader to really think about, well, what is our energy as an HR function right now? And how might we hone the aspects, the strength of a cheerleader? And let's reframe that. Let's reframe from a negative stance to a positive stance, because I do think that we are in a place in the HR function of so much less than feelings, less than emotions and mindset, that maybe you do need to reclaim the cheerleading hope and joy that it's as needed, that is so needed in order to help us step through this time of letting go of what was, unlearning, and sit in uncertainty. I think a lot of the muscle that you help bring for individuals and into teams helps them do that.
Yeah, and it's so funny when you're talking about that. I'm kind of feeling the parallel of how a lot of people will perceive what I do or will perceive improv as just fun or fluff or, yeah, let's have that at our company retreat and we can play games. And you don't realize how much like cultivating that energy, cultivating the creativity, that those things really do contribute to a company's bottom line, to an employee's growth and development as a leader. Like these things that might seem silly on the surface, like an HR rep who's just overly zealous and is passing out candy on Fridays or whatever, things that might seem like silly on the surface. What's the other option, right? Like
Yeah.
what's the other option? That, keep bringing that energy, because I promise you that people need it a lot more than you realize. And although it seems silly on the surface to someone who's having a really crappy day, I personally think having that cheerleader is a game changer, honestly.
And it's presence, it's charisma, it's what you bring to the organization. I'm sure a lot of HR folks have felt this of like, I remember leaving a company and the Chamber of Commerce showed up with a plant when I was leaving because I was moving, and they were like, "You were the heart of this organization." I was like, "No, I was just the one who got to do all the fun stuff and the not so fun stuff, but it's the way you show up and you bring the environment that makes it a bit more special." Jill, you brought up a really good point, and I think that kind of lends itself to what we wanted to talk about today and like kind of show off a little bit. Is it's more than the mandatory fun, the off-site activity. It is a way of being, a way of operating. And you came on and did a hive seat with us, and you actually showed us some frameworks and some activities that things that you could implement immediately. And Mindy and I even do it like just with just the two of us in our stand-up. So we've implemented some of them, and it's really awesome. So, just wondering if I like a little show and tell for the world, so to speak.
That's my favorite thing to do, Marnie. It's the moment I'm waiting for. No, seriously, and we were talking something earlier, I think that Mindy said jogged my memory of my last corporate job. I hope she's not watching this because she'll probably know exactly who she is, but there we and I think everyone has experienced what I called an energy vampire. One of those people that comes into the office, if you're someone who's on an on-site setting, and immediately they just suck the energy out of the room because they're in a bad mood. They have the ability to just change that energy. And, it really does affect everyone around you, your energy. So if you're someone who's starting a meeting, and whether you can sense the energy is off or not, because some people are better at hiding it than others, taking 5 minutes before the start of a meeting to do some of these exercises that we're about to do that might seem, again, a little bit silly, actually make a really big difference. Like Mindy, your post the other day talking about how, you guys were kind of stuck in this like stalemate, and just introducing that. And it doesn't take that much time out of the meeting. Everyone always feels like they're pressed for time. But in the end, if you're going to have people who are grumpy and not contributing to a meeting, it's just a waste of time anyway.
It's the flywheel effect. You get quicker momentum if you're in the right space.
Absolutely. And it's like, most times people are not really going to be in the right space. They're off thinking about the other project that they have to do, what they're going to cook for dinner tonight, if their kids need to be picked up from baseball, or if the husband's got it, like whatever it is. How do we not just energize, but like focus the room too? Like we want happy, energized people, but people that are in that present moment and not outside of that room or outside of that Zoom room. So
are we ready to get started?
yeah, you guys want to jump in? So I have 3 super quick exercises. I want to show you just how quickly, and look, we're a group of 3, so obviously we're going to get through more quickly than a group of 20, but you'll see how this is super short. And if you enjoy these exercises, we have a free gift for you as well today. I'm going to give you 6 more of these that you can use at the top of your meetings to energize your team. So to start, this is what I call the silent energy check-in. This is really good. It's really good to do energy check-ins at the top of a meeting to see where your team is. But like everyone gets bored with that simple, like happy, stress, whatever it is. Let's do something a little different. So the silent energy check-in is for my introverts who might need like a little extra second to wake up, and maybe even one word is just a little bit too much. So for us, let's go around this circle, and I just want everyone to check in with how you're feeling. No words can be used, just your face, your body. It can be a simple hand gesture. It could just be however you're feeling. This is your moment to just silently check in. So let's start with, I have Marnie at the top of my screen. So Marnie, go ahead. Hey,
That's
Mindy.
me.
And me. Awesome. See, super quick. You can do that under a minute with a team of 20. Just go around. You could do it virtually, in person, boom, bam, bam, done. Did that feel silly? I know it was super quick, but what did you observe about each other?
So first off, and for the people who may be listening and not watching in the future, we just had a range of, just picture it. But for me, it felt like you could get really creative with it too. Like for the people who really want to do something creative, they disappear, they faint, or you could just like the whole 10 and 2 dance move that people do. Like you could stay at the 10 and 2, if
Yeah,
you wanted.
it very much meets people where they're. Yeah. So the next one is another simple check-in for your energy, but let's make it a little bit more creative. This is one that people who aren't used to flexing their creativity muscles might struggle with at first, but it's the type of thing that, again, is super quick. And if you keep iterating it, you're going to see people get more creative. Like all of a sudden they can think of things more quickly. So I just quickly want to go around the circle and ask, if your mood were a movie title, could be real, could be made up if you're feeling that. If your mood right now were a movie title, what movie is it? What's the first thing that comes, if you could describe your day today?
Say, it's an old movie, Bird on a Wire. That's
Bird
the
on
first
a
thing that
Wire.
popped in my head. And I really don't know why, but like Bird on a Wire.
Let's get actually into some improv. Justify it for me. Make it work. Make it work
Okay.
now
Hmm.
with your day.
I get to have, so like one of the things is I got to have a lot of really great conversations today. That was part of my day. It's like just more like talk, and listen. So Bird on a Wire, it's like very busy, maybe a little like topsy-turvy, losing stuff on the screen, but perched in a point where I get to witness and see a lot of really great ideas.
God, look how creative. You just told a whole story. That was so simple to draw that out of you. Look, maybe it had nothing to do with whatever meeting we're in at this moment, but just watching you flex that creativity muscle, those are the types of things that when you flex it in that context, you're going to be able to flex it in other contexts as well. Mindy, do you have a movie?
Yeah, super weird, but it just like came to me. It was, can't remember who was in it, but it was a retelling of the story Noah,
What is it?
like Noah and making the ark. And
Okay.
yeah,
So Noah's
I know, weird. So it's like, why that?
yeah,
But then
tell
I
me
was just
why.
realizing because the ark was like the shift because the rain was going to come to wash away what was, and the ship was the shift, like to what was next. And Noah went out and you get all the animals, but people thought he was crazy. Like, why are you building this ark in the middle of the desert? There's no water here. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel often like I'm building and creating and meeting people and talking with people. And we're all in different places right now. And some people don't understand, right? They're still tight and held to their ways, but we are in a time of change and we are in a time of moving towards something different. And I don't think it always makes sense to people. So I feel like Noah building the art that no one like understands, but some do. And they're like, I want to be on a ship with you. Take me, because I want to be in the future with you.
Yes. I love that. I'm seeing so many things here. I'm loving the creativity that it's drawing out of you guys. The other thing, too, is that all of a sudden, both of you are out of your heads. You're somewhere else. You're in
Well,
your creativity. You got a little bit lost in the fun, and it took you out of your heads. And that is one of the pieces of what I do that is so important, that really is under the surface of fun. Because think about, for me, if I'm having a bad day, I can go to a dance class or an improv class or a workout class. And those are the places where I get out of my head and into like the moment of what I'm doing. And it's a total mood buster. And it also just helps you be present in what you are doing versus
mm,
whatever is happening after. So these simple little fun things I loved watching in real time. All of a sudden, both of your moods switched and you just had fun with
yep.
it. And that's how you want to start a meeting. That's how you progress versus like that force, who has something to contribute or
Something so key there. You said something so key there. How often are we just jumping into meetings and without doing these very things? You said their mind isn't even with us right now. Actually have a good meeting if our mind is somewhere else, worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet, or noodling on something that has happened and concerned about what other people may be thinking that they probably have forgotten about by now. But the one thing you're not fully in is in that very meeting.
yeah, exactly. Like, how do we get people to care? First, you have to get them in the moment. Get
Mm,
them out of here and get them here.
yeah. Wow.
It's a little bit more difficult of a task too when you're remote, when you're on Zoom, because you're not even seeing, you don't even know what's going on. They could have a cat in their lap, like whatever, they have TV on in the background. That's an even bigger hurdle to cross. And that's why it's so important to get them engaged. And actually in the gift that we're giving you, I have some ones that are like project specific. How do we get into that innovative state to like discuss what we really need to discuss, So
Yeah.
I have one more exercise for us. This one is called the yes and reframe. I use yes and in so many different ways. You'll hear me talk about yes and all the time. You'll hear mostly every improver talk about yes and all the time because it is the core of the core principles of improv. And what it means is that we are building on to ideas and letting them breathe and not needing them to be perfect at first instead of just shutting things down. The other exercise too with the movie titles, there's going to be a lot of people on your team that are perfectionists that feel the pressure to come up with that perfect movie title. Like, oh my God, if I don't say the exact right thing to describe how I'm feeling in this moment, I failed. But like, how is everyone else in the room going to even know what like the right answer is? And that's because there is no right answer. Another really strong principle of improv. People are so afraid to speak up. This is where I come in and talk about psychological safety. Another really, really important piece of this puzzle for me is that people feel psychologically safe to speak up. And when they feel like they're going to say something that is wrong, it's so much easier to remain quiet. And so many ideas don't happen because of people staying quiet. So doing things like this give permission for people to fail forward, to make things a little bit messy, and then we refine them later as a team. Nothing starts out perfect. I always compare it to carving, a statue. The statue of Michelangelo is just a piece of stone at one point. It didn't automatically turn into a work of art. So yeah, if you guys have anything to comment before we start the game, please, by all means.
Well, I think for us, it's like where that really resonates is we have so many people who have gone either through our mastermind or they're in the hive that they HR folks are expected to know the answer. And that's one of the things that really resonated in our conversation with you was that that's not necessarily the case. It's okay to be the yes and or to be the I don't know the answer, but this is what I do know, and to be confident in that and creating the space where and that's what a lot of the people we talk to, particularly if they're in kind of the larger organizations and whatnot, they're like, I'm expected to know all the answers. No, you're not. And yeah, so that's I think why we resonate so much with.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think the answer all the time is just being authentic in your answer. And if that answer is I don't know, you yes and that. It's not just I don't know and I'm going to figure it out. Like it's okay to say I don't know, but have a plan of action. Yes and that stuff, So
So
this
good.
this yes and reframe is again, we can use yes and in so many ways. This way is to reframe people who might be in like a little bit of a bad mood. So what we're going to do is we're going to yes and each other, kind of like debating, but instead of saying no but, we're saying yes and. I actually was at Florida Atlantic University last week, and I helped teach a persuasion class. And this was one of the exercises that we did because when you are, not that you're debating your team members, but if you have someone in a bad mood, there is that kind of tension. So instead of saying no, but and trying to like coax someone out of a bad mood, you yes and it, you agree with them, you make them feel seen because at the end of the day, everyone just wants to be seen and validated. And then you build on that. So what we're going to do in this exercise is I want all three of us to say something rotten that happened to us this week. Something that like did not go according to plan or something that like we're not that jazzed for, whatever it is, whatever that first thing that comes to your mind is, because remember, no wrong answers. Like there's no right answer for this. No one knows like what's going on in your head. So they're not going to know like, oh my God, she said that answer, but I know something even worse happened to her and she's not saying it. Okay, just like choose your answer. We don't have to overthink it. And we're going to yes and you. So if I say my laundry got mixed up and all my clothes are pink, Mindy might say yes. And now you'll always match your brand. So it's the yes and reframe. We're all going to say something rotten that happened to us. And then each of us is going to give the other one a reframe. So did anything immediately come to mind for either of you when
Mine, yeah, I did.
I could say that.
My mom's condo that's about to be up for sale, the painters just got done, and then the upstairs neighbor flooded my mom's condo.
Yes, and now she has an indoor pool.
Yeah.
Marnie got a yes and for that?
Yes, and now she got free cleaning.
Perfect. Marnie, any moment for you that jumped out that was not so great?
Oh, I'm still thinking. Not so great. Well, it was from last week, but I sprained my ankle again.
Yes, and now people are going to wait on you hand and foot. Oh, lucky.
No pun intended.
Quick improv skills. Only took you a few sessions with me.
Yes. And now you get to Netflix binge without feeling guilty.
Yes. Love
That
it.
is a good one. Awesome. Awesome job, guys. Oh, and I have to do one too. Let's see. I had to pay my taxes.
Yes, and now you don't get to go to jail.
Thank you.
Yes. And now you have a whole year to wait till you do it again.
Good stuff. Great job, guys. Great. Just like jumping in there, quick thinking, creativity muscles are flexed, barriers are down. You can see how this really just changes the tone, sets the tone for a meeting. So I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, we enjoyed
What
so much. We're up on time, but I think the biggest thing for us is I hope that these people leaders and these HR pros out there see how beyond the offsite, beyond the activities, how important this type of skill set is, particularly in the ever changing, ever shifting environment that we have. And so these are the type of skill sets that we need to hone in on, that we need to sharpen and foster and ignite within our teams. Jill, that being said, where can people find you? Because you are giving us these wonderful resources, but there's so much more to learn. So where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a free gift for you, which again is a PDF of 6 ways you can energize your team before a meeting. And there's ways to get in touch with me, if you want to go further. If we also have a quiz for you, if you want to kind of see what your meeting style is, maybe you can sense something isn't quite right, but you're not sure exactly what it is. Back in the old days where you would take quizzes in like 17 and YM. And if you remember YM, then you're definitely the same age as me, which I won't say what it is, but it's a really fun quiz in that kind of style. Okay. So do the fun stuff and we'll get in touch. I'm here on LinkedIn. You can follow me, connect with me. I'd love to be connected. I do try to put out content that is different from what you're seeing from other LinkedIn echo chamber style stuff. So yeah, let's connect.
Yeah. Be sure to mention in the comments if you'd like that free resource or, connect with direct message myself, Marnie, or Jill. If you're in the Hive community, we will be posting the free resource there. So if you're not in the Hive, be sure to join us there. And we'll also be linking to the survey in the recap after today's session. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to go on to LinkedIn and you can reach out, get the resource as well. So even if it's a year from now, we will still have the resource if you're listening to
I'll
it.
still be here just improvising away. Come on.
I think my main takeaway, Jill, from this is just how easy this is. I think the HR function right now and has been for a while is feeling underwater often and is feeling how in the world could I do one more thing? And I love how in just a quick few minutes you shared how you can just start a meeting, even just start your own day with your family in the car, driving your kids to school, using these exercises to just really help just shift the mood within just a few seconds and a way just to do that temperature check-in in a safe way that builds towards trust. So thank you so much, Jill. It was so much fun talking to you.
I love talking with you guys always.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll talk soon. Bye.